Good morning. Today is the 11th of December 2024 and I'm going to go through today's trading plan and levels on watch. As always, before we start, let's take a look at the news events to see what could move the market. We had a massive move at 8:30. Core inflation, CPI, came in pretty hot, and it was a really big move, literally going back to where we trade. Just be a bit wary. And then we do have the 10-year note auction at 1 o'clock, although it's only 2 out of 3 on the volatility scale. That can cause a bit of movement in the market if you're still trading by that point. So just be a bit wary today at 10:30, especially if you're trading oil stocks. Okay, so on my screen we're looking at the S&P 500. Let's start from the top, work our way down, looking at the daily chart. And a couple of things of interest to note is that we've had a couple of pullbacks, a little bit of a pullback, and notice how the volume on the red days are higher than the volume on the green days, so that there is a few more sellers in the market. And we come into this key area yesterday and we found the bottom of this pullback for now, and we're kind of trading inside yesterday's candle. So we're in an inside day, makes it hard to trade. We just need to break out of these areas. And we had this candle, and notice little volumes hidden behind that symbol, but there's not much volume at the moment. But we've also taken out, pretty much put in the same candle size as we did yesterday. On the grand scheme of things, we've had the prices starting to push up through new all-time highs. We've had increase in volume as well until we had these last 2 red days. Nothing really real to see. Looking up here, we've got a little bit of volume, and we can see that on the hourly. The point of control runs right through that area. That's an area we've got on watch for potential rejection. And then our next biggest daily volume shelf is probably where we are right now. So either going to break through. That's what we need the news events to do, is break through these volume shelves. That's what it looks like we've done. And then the next biggest volume shelf is not until we break down, but we need to lose yesterday's low for that. So let's just drop down into the hourly and pick up some levels for today. You can see I've got this trend line, just a rough trend line drawn in. We're kind of there at the moment. So we are, even though we're still in a daily uptrend with a 2-day pullback, we are still in this is an hourly down, almost a downtrend. If we break out over yesterday's high, then potentially we could be breaking this hourly pullback as well, putting in another day up into, coming up into all-time highs again, that area. So levels on watch for me today. Not sure I like the break and retest of pre-market high because we've got yesterday's high so close, but probably keep an eye on yesterday's high for a break and retest out of that area, back down into this region for a long play. Just have a look at volumes. Our next volume shelf, which we just spoke about on the daily, is not until we get up into this region. So I do quite like this area, 60.95 for a rejection. That area I've not marked it up because I've got the point of control marking that up, but we can keep an eye on this area confluence as well, this little area here. And if we do get into that area, we can, in fact this entire zone is an area we can watch for potential rejection. So that's around 690 to 6, so yeah, just the average area is 695. So keep an eye on 695 for potential rejection, and that's for confirmation. If we get, yeah, that's probably the only place I can see. We've got this area as well we can keep an eye on. It is an area of confluence, so we've got bottoms excuse me, so we've got a little bit of area confluence there, and then we had bottoms of candles, broke down towards the floor, became the ceiling, and we've not yet come back up to retest it. So just keep an eye on 60-80 area. Potentially we can watch that for a rejection down, and if we hold that level or just consolidate, maybe we can watch it for a break and retest long as well. pre-market high is now pretty much at the same level as yesterday's high, so that level is still on watch, but it's a big move and we do need to pull back a little bit just so we can sustain increases in movement up. As for break and retest for pre-market low, let's just zoom out a bit. I still quite like that. We've got this level marked out at 60.50. Keep an eye on that area. That's the area I'd marked up yesterday as well. You can see yesterday we went straight through that area, came back up and then held it. So that level's still in play, 60.50. So that area there. So let's watch that area for a bounce. And if we lose that area, let's look for a break and retest of pre-market low. And potentially break and retest of yesterday's low as well. And I think that's it really. Keep it really simple. And the volume shelf, that big volume shelf there, is below as well. So maybe we do have another area of confidence we can keep an eye on. It was a level I had originally marked up, which I got rid of yesterday. So the 60-60 area. Let's keep an eye if we pull back into that region. We do have this volume shelf here as well, which is not quite point of control, that's slightly above, but that's the area to watch for a potential bounce. But me, I prefer to see it bounce back down here, hold that area, put in a bit of a double bottom, and then bounce. I think that's it. Order flow, it's not doing anything special, doing exactly what you expect. Sideways, big push up, sideways, big push up. Looking pretty bullish right now. We do have this region down here where there's quite a lot of touches, or they're not really that aligned, but that area where potentially if we do pull back and we're looking for a bounce, this is an area, 60-50 area for a bounce. It's an area we've talked about already. 60-50 is an area on watch, so that add extra confirmation. If we're looking for that area for a bounce as well, that could be held up because that's where we know where the last lot of volume was. I think that's it. Let's just flick back to ES. Let's have a look at the SPY. Exactly the same levels as we've been watching previously. We've got break and retest a pre-market high where we are now, and we've got this zone which I do quite like for the rejection. So that's 605, 606 area basically, all the way up to about 607. And if we lose pre-market low, keep an eye on a break and retest. 603, 602, and we got 600, which is our bounce area. We've yet to get back down into that area. So we've got lots of volume below, so watch 600 for the bounce. And that's it. Similar levels to ES, SPX. Good morning, Charles. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you had a better day yesterday. Me, it was a break-even day for myself, and hopefully no more over trading as well, which you said you was doing. Okay, so SPX, we've got this region here which we watch 6,017. That's the area on watch for bounce, and then rejection. Probably yesterday's high, that area there. And we do have this area of confidence as well at 60-50, so keep an eye on that area. So again, I don't use SPX to trade, I use that as a confirmation if I'm going long on ES, then I don't want to be going long if we are currently sitting below a level. If we're down here, then I'll be going long into resistance. I would be going long if we're coming into that potential support, which will act as a bounce area. NQ. Oh, I thought yesterday it was going to put in, you could say we've got this head and shoulders pattern We talked about it in this pre-market video. It came down, came back up and retested, and I thought that's the entry there, but obviously the news had different ideas. So we can keep an eye on yesterday's high, this region here for the rejection, 21,606, and in fact it's that region. We've got, where's that volume? So we've got that area there as a potential rejection area. Volume shelf, area confidence just below, and what is that level? Around 21,632, that area there. And the reason I like that area is because, let's just zoom in a bit. Last time we were there, we had this big reaction down, came back up, got close to that area, big reaction down, and then we'll see what happens if we get another big reaction down if we get back up there. So let's keep an eye on yesterday's high all the way up to, so it's 21,600 all the way through to 21,630. So that's a big area, so we have to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, watch for the break and retest. Again, not sure about pre-market high because it's such a big move up, but we really want to see it just put on a bit of slow movement, break out, come back down, and continue to trend up. And let's just see. I still quite like that area for a bounce, pre-market low area for a bounce, and if we lose pre-market low, break and retest short. So that's the two plays really. I'm trying to keep it simple as possible. Again, so we've broken that trend line just there. So let's keep an eye on this region again, 520 to 520.50 for a bounce. If we can't bounce and we lose that area, let's watch for the break and retest short. And if we do get below there, I think I said this yesterday, I was quite excited when we went short there. We've got a lack of volume, that big void, so it didn't really set up the play we wanted. A break and retest for head and shoulders, but we can still play this if we get back down. So we've got to have a break and retest a pre-market low, and then if we get up into this region 526, we can watch out for a rejection. Let's just add that area in just about there, and the reason I like that is big area consolidation, and to the left we've got this volume shelf as well. So this region here I quite like for a rejection. Oil is on a bit of a run at the moment. Look at this little inverse head and shoulders pattern, breakout, retest, or depends where you want the necklines. And if the neckline's there, then we've broken out, came back, retested that area and pushed up. Might be better on the 4-hour chart. So same levels as yesterday. If we come back down into yesterday's high, we can watch out for a bounce at 69. Otherwise, we can watch this region here, 70 to 70.50 for a rejection. This region up here, and obviously last time we was up in that region, we had this big reaction to it. Just keep an eye on RSI. RSI is coming up into the overbought region as well, so if we can get it RSI right up into that area, might bring on a good short trade. And if we bounce, we can watch down here in the trend line area, yesterday's low for the bounce. Gold, it's broken out of this box we've been talking about for a few weeks, or at least last week, and look at that, it broke out, came back and retested, broke out again, retested again. So this is the entry here, if hopefully somebody took that, and then we're breaking out. So we broke through that level, came back and retested it, yesterday's low, and we've broken above this level, and we're just kind of holding this pre-market high. So I do quite like the break and retest of pre-market high. I'm just saying, why is it yesterday's high there, pre-market high? I think because I programmed this indicator to show me pre-market high from 3 AM, so that must have been about midnight maybe, or in yesterday's post-market, which is why I put in the eyes. But we can watch that area. So 27.40 break and retest long. We've got, what's the next? We've got this pivot here to keep an eye on. Let me adjust this because it's more accurate with the newer stuff. And then we've got next pivot up. It's not until we get to the point of control area, which is 270, 270.80, 27.80. RTY. Now this is looking pretty decent. I do like this. The reason I like it is we're putting in this flag pattern, and we want to break out through there. So one of two, we're right down the middle at the moment. If we can break the yesterday's high and find a retest, that's perfect. Otherwise, let's look for break and retest short. That's the only two plays I can see. I like the short because notice the lack of volume as we're coming down. So basically trend continuation, break and retest a pre-market low into the next area. We've got this little hiccup area here, but then we haven't got real volume until we get all the way back down into this region. So potentially we can keep an eye on this. Okay, next up is YM, we're almost done. Okay, so I do quite like this bounce area where we're coming into now, pre-market low, only because we've got area of confluence, kind of touched it there, retested there, came into that area, this area here, so we can watch for a double bottom, break the trend. Otherwise we can keep an eye on the break and retest of this downtrend. Look at that, it's a nice downtrend. The only way we want to go high is if we break the retest, break the trend line, come back in, retest the pre-market high, yesterday high area, and then let it go back up. We've got this overhead volume, this point of control runs right through this area of confluence as well, it's right through this consolidation area, and so 44, but that's be about 44, let's have a look, 44,900, 44,800, that area, 4,500, that's got to be a rejection area, and it's got to be a target if we're long. Bounce wise, if we do lose pre-market low, let's keep an eye on this region here for a bounce. We have got a volume shelf, this little volume shelf here. We do have a little volume shelf next to that as well, so we could have two areas watch for a bounce, and that would be 4,400 psychological number, so that's probably the better area to watch because it is a psychological number, and it adds as another confirmation. And then finally Bitcoin, and we just got a bit of time, so we can quickly have a quick look at ES again. Let's go to the daily for Bitcoin. So I've not done anything with my Bitcoin other than taking a little bit of profit as it's on its way out. Our next area to watch for a bounce is this region here. You can see that was original previous all-time highs, broke the all-time high, and then we just put in this pattern effectively. And notice this real bullish pattern, the cup. Let's just clear everything. So we've got the cup and the handle pattern. So that's the cup. This is the handle, and I've been speaking about this pattern for at least since July, probably earlier, June, July, when we started putting in this pattern, and we've been running this trend, this range. And we finally broke out, retested. That's how you can see why I've added a few times here, and then take the profit. As they say, sell the rip, buy the dip, and that's exactly I've been buying into Bitcoin all the way down here, and even when we had this run up, I was still buying in. So my average price was originally down at this point, around about there, and then you can see where I've been taking profit. I'm not put my ads in because that was over the last year. I really started documenting my outs as I'm taking them, and I'll still do that now. Notice high volume RSIs overbought as well, very extended from the trend lines, so we're really long way away. Let's just clear this, make it a bit clearer. We are a long way away from the 8 moving average, a long way from the 20, and even further away from the 50, and even further away from the 200. So these are key areas we wait for pullbacks. You know, we never do extend too far away from the 8. We normally run up the 8, as you can see here. So here we are extremely far away from the 8. So we do need a decent pullback at least to the 8. Tried it on that big down day. I can't remember when that was, last week, a couple weeks ago. but we never really held it, put in a bottom tail, so it still looks bullish. But if it's putting in bottom tails, then that's a sign of weakness at an end of a trend. Increased volume means we've got sellers there as well. Bottom tail means at one point that was a whole red candle before buyers came back in again. So my plan for Bitcoin, if we can get down to 72, I'll be watching that area for an add, and I've got an alert down at 50 area, so let's just mark this up. So that's what I want to add next, and the profits I've taken, I'll probably want to be adding them back in there, and that's it. So let's just quickly look at ES again, see if anything's changed, and I can go through my. I had a few trades. I over traded a little bit yesterday, so I took the break and retest of pre-market high, which stopped me out. Then I had a couple of little baby revenge trades, which I'll just open up my journal. View notebook. Here we go. So okay, so that's basically commissions. It was a break-even day in the end. How do I view my trades? Oh, is it there, isn't it? Get there in the end. So that's my winning trade. Okay, that's a break and retest of pre-market, of the pre-market low. As you can see here, I got in. Pre-market low was, I think, around about this area here. Can't quite remember exactly if I zoom out. So I waited for it, broke it, pulled back, and then I took the entry on that red 5-minute candle. I was watching the 2-minute as well. One thing to note, which I go into my first trade, notice I call it an air gap. That gap where we actually see physical candles break it, come back and retest. And then it was a decent play all the way down to profit, and I just come out. I trailed the 5-minute and come out on that 5-minute pullback. So decent play, and that kind of let me break even from the 2 trades. So I had a losing trade. This is my break and retest of pre-market high. Again, the difference here, notice the air gap, or the lack of an air gap. So I got in, it pushed through, it came back down, but it didn't really push through. Not part of my plan. There should have been a gap, an air gap there, before I would have gone long. And had I just not anticipated, I anticipated the trade, and then I added into it as well, thinking, you know, it's going to bounce again, and then I'll get a better price. It was a lot. Yeah, it wasn't that great, and then I just took my stops off my. I had 3 contracts there, so I took all my stops and got out. You know, glad I did. If you don't have stops, then it could have just gone on forever. And then I had 2 boredom trades, really, and revenge trades. I've not marked these up yet, which I do need to. In fact, I had 3 of them. One of them was a winner, 2 was losers, and this is a long. I was still trying to get that. I was still annoyed at myself with a break and retest of pre-market high, so I went long. Went long twice, and then I just stopped out, and then half an hour later I revenge traded again, over traded this. I only want to take 1 trade a day, really, maybe 2 maximum. So here, still adamant I wanted to go long, and I thought this was setting out again. It wasn't even part of my plan now, it wasn't at any of my levels. I went long, and then I just took the full stop, or I took a small stop. Again, there's only about 3 MES contracts, and then again decided, right, I'm not doing very successful, look at the longs, so I came out of that, and I changed my position down to a short, and lo and behold, it came back, and I should have held it. You know, my original stop was up here, and again I was over trading. It wasn't very good trading at all, and I saw it come against me, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take my profits there. It wasn't much, $90, only because I've had 3 losing trades in a row, and I should have walked by that point. That's a full 1 hour stop, might be a bit less, 0.8 R, and these were little tiny small quarter, third of an R losses, I reduced my risk a bit, but still I shouldn't have even taken them, and I should have just waited for this break and retest of pre-market low. And you can see it came in, perfect air gap, that's the air gap I'm looking for. I came in and I took my short on that red candle, I think it's in that area there, can't remember exactly where I got in, and I trailed it down. So that was what I should have been waiting for. I should have not taken the pre-market high. That was a bad trade, and I should have just waited until my levels. Had I hit my levels, it would have been a real decent day. So basically that was a 2R move down, about a 2.5 arm move down, maybe close to 3R, whereas I got 3R. Yeah, it's just poor trading, so I will journal that later. Okay, so market opens in 3 minutes. Let's go back to the hourly, just recap the levels we're watching. And again, it's important to trade the levels because these are higher probability areas. So we've got this area here of confluence, 60-80 area we can watch for a rejection. Not my favourite rejection. My favourite rejection will be up in this region here, and that will be around 60.88 down to 60.98, that $10 gap up here. Otherwise we can look for the break and retest. We're still putting in new highs. Really hard to go long right now, we're so close to the break and retest area, but if we pull back and then we break out and come back, do something like that, maybe a break and retest a pre-market high. Yes, it's high, but we have got this overhead resistance above as well. And look at the RSI, shot straight up into this overbought area, so just be a bit wary. Otherwise, I'm watching for continuation on this downtrend. I'm not sure whether we're going to break down, and that's at 60.50. And 60.50 is also a bounce area to watch as well. Exactly what we did yesterday. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Appreciate every one of you, and I will be back tomorrow at 9 AM. And I think that's it. Okay.